she wouldn't be like too crazy, and a lot of people are like, oh hey, I'm gonna go ahead and summon now, so I'm just saying, I told you so. But in this video, I'm pretty much going to be going over her basic kit, her best Lycons, best relic stat, and her details about them, such as how much is too much crit damage, the 160 speed argument over the 160 speed compared to being 1 or 2 points below your hyper carry speed, or trace priorities, and also teams. So yeah, before I get into the video, guys, say drop a sub and turn on the bell icon for future videos like this, along with summons, other types of guides, news, and all of that. Definitely we appreciate it. Let's get straight into the video. Starting off with Sparkle's talent, as you see, it increases the crit damage of a single target ally by 24% of Sparkle's crit damage plus 45%, lasting for 1 turn, and at the same time advances forward this ally's action by 50%. As for the ultimate, I don't have it maxed, but I have it at 9, so it's practically maxed. So, recovers 4 skill points for the team and grants all allies Cypher. For allies with Cypher, each stack of the damage boost effect provided by Sparkle's talent additionally increases by 9.5, lasting for 2 turns. Same with the talent, it's at level 9 over 10, so expect the number to be a little higher if you have it at 10. While Sparkle is on the battlefield, additionally increases the max number of skill points by 2, so instead of having maximum of 5 skill points, you have 7. Whenever an ally consumes 1 skill point, all allies' damage dealt increases by 5.6%. This effect lasts for 2 turns and can stack up to 3 times. And the basic attack just deals quantum damage equal to whatever percent of Sparkle's attack to an enemy. It's nothing crazy. So moving on to the bonus abilities really quick. The first one increases all allies' attack by 15%. When there are 1, 2, 3 quantum allies on the team, increases quantum type allies' attack by 5, 15, 30%. So what this means is pretty much every other quantum character besides Sparkle, you gain a attack boost for those quantum type allies. And so if you have 1 other one, you get 5%, if you have 2 other ones, you get 15%, and if you have 3 other ones, you get 30%. There's a lot of controversy of her being locked behind Mono Quantum just because of this. She does so much in her kit, so it practically negates this, so you can pretty much ignore this if you are not running Mono Quantum. You do not need this. Obviously, her best team would be on Mono Quantum, but again, she is still just so good to the point that you don't even need to worry about this. Another bonus ability she has is when using basic attack, additionally regenerates 10 energy. And the other one is the crit damage boost effect provided by the skill will be extended until the start of the target's next turn. That is pretty much the basic summary of Sparkle's kit. Moving on to her Lycons, the best of the best will be her signature one. And what it does, as it says right here, increases the wearer's crit damage by 32%. At the start of the battle, the wearer gains a mask lasting for 3 turns. While the wearer has mask, the wearer's allies have their crit rate increased by 10% and their crit damage increased by 28%. For every 1 skill point the wearer recovers, including skill points that exceed the limit, they gain 1 stack of Radiant Flame, and when the wearer has 4 stacks of Radiant Flame, all stacks are removed and they gain mask lasting for 4 turns. This is a very good Lycon for her because it also provides you with crit damage, which her buff on the skill scales off of, and also when you do have the mask, you increase your allies' crit rate by 10%, which is really nice, and an additional 28% to their crit damage. Overall, a very powerful option and her best in slot. Another very good option you can use is Bronia's Lycon, and what it does is increase the wearer's energy regeneration rate by 10% and regenerates 1 skill point when the wearer uses their ultimate on an ally. This effect can be triggered once after every 2 uses of the wearer's ultimate. When the wearer uses their skill, the next ally taking action, except the wearer, deals 30% more damage for 1 turn. This Lycon helps you with your ult uptime because you get more regeneration rate, and it also helps you recover 1 more skill point than you already would with the ult. When you do proc the ability of this ult on the ultimate, so once every 2 times you use the ultimate, instead of getting 4 skill points back from her ult, because that's what her ult does, you get 5 with this Lycon. And with proper tuning, this can become really powerful because if you do have your DPS go after she puts the skill with the 50% action forward, they would be the next one dealing damage. So they deal 30% more damage for 1 turn. So this can be a very good option if used properly. Another very good option is the passive future, and at R5 what it does is when the wearer uses their skill, the next ally taking action deals increased damage for 1 turn. Obviously this one is at S5, so at 32% at S5, but even at S1, very good if you don't have any of the other options as followed. Pretty much just like as I mentioned at the beginning part of the Bronet Lycon, if you can tune it to where your DPS attacks next, you can take advantage of this light cone, letting them do a lot more damage for that turn. And for the final light cone I could recommend is only if you are running her on Mono Quantum. And this one with Asta on it, what it does is after entering the battle, if an ally deals the same damage type as the wearer, damage dealt increases by 24%. And since on Mono Quantum, everyone is Quantum, implying that it is Mono Quantum, this can be uptimed at all times. So if you are running Mono Quantum, this is a very good option if you do not have any of the other ones as followed. And even if you are running her on Mono Quantum, I still would recommend running any of these over it because they are just better for most situations. Now moving on to her best relic set, the best relic set will be the Hacker Space set, and what it does is increases speed by 6%. In 4-piece, when the wearer uses their ultimate on an ally, which her ultimate will always be doing, speed for all allies increases by 12% for 1 turn. This effect cannot be stacked, so getting a speed bonus for your team is really good. And another really good option for the relic set will be the 4-piece, and so the 2-piece would be useless because it is wind damage, and Sparkle in general will not be doing damage, and the wind damage is even more useless because she's not wind. But you're after the 4-piece, and what that does is after the wearer uses ultimate, their action is advanced forward by 25%. This option is practically good just so you get a faster turn, being able to use your skill once again quicker on your hyper carry, so that is practically the reason why this is her second best option. As for planet ornaments, the best one you actually could be running is not the one I have because I don't have the crazy relics for her built sadly, so I am just using what I can. But one of the 2 best ones you can use is Broken Keel. And what Broken Keel does is gives you 10% effect res for free. And when you have 30% or higher effect res, all your allies gain 10% crit damage. So pretty much just buffing your team's crit damage even more for free. Just because Broken Keel is just super good. And if you are running her on Mono Quantum, the best one becomes the Penacony set. What that does is the 2-piece increases regeneration rate by 5% for free. And you also increase damage for all other allies of the same type by 10%. And as I mentioned previously, you are running Mono Quantum where everyone is Quantum, so this would be best because you're giving them 10% damage. And you already practically give enough crit damage from everything else, mainly her skill, and if you have her signature light cone, you are giving so much crit damage to the point you can probably prioritize some other damage slots, and Broken Keel doesn't allow for giving damage because the whole thing is giving crit damage, but Penacony does. So for Mono Quantum, the best one would be the Penacony set. And the other good set you can be running is Fleet of the Ageless, and what that does increase the wearer's max HP by 12%, and when you have 120 speed or higher, all allies' attack increases by 8%, so just getting a free 8% attack bonus for all your allies. As I mentioned, this can be a good option if you are already providing enough crit damage, and you think you're going to be getting diminishing returns, which could potentially happen in this game. The attack percent over something like crit damage can be helpful at times, same with damage dealt. Damage dealt in this game is really good. So that's why something like the Penacony set on the Mono Quantum is something that would be better than Broken Keel. Moving on to the stats, obviously first 2 have unchangeable main stats. The middle piece you're going to be rocking crit damage. The boots will be speed. I know I have attack percent on mine, but as I said, I don't have anything else right now, but you would be practically want HP or defense on the orb, just for survivability, preferably HP though. And for the rope, you'd be rocking energy regeneration rate. For the substats, you do want to prioritize speed. And for the subsets, you want to prioritize speed coming up to a few things here. So it really depends if you are building your Sparkle in general. If you're building a general Sparkle just for every use and you don't care about tuning, 134 speed, so the breakpoint would be fine. There are also 2 other ways that I will get into later in this video, which is Hyperspeed Sparkle, which is a 160 plus speed Sparkle, versus the -1 to 2 speed Sparkle, which is pretty much having her at 1 to 2 speed lower than your hyper carry DPS. And so you want to have the speed on your subsets if you are following either the general Sparkle, which would be the breakpoint of 134 or higher, the -1 to 2 speed where you would have enough speed substats to where you are 1 to 2 speed below your hyper carry DPS, or you want to have enough substats to where you get above 160. All depends on you. And again, I will cover that in the later part of this video. Followed by that, you want to have crit damage, and I will go over later in this video about what is too much crit damage, but pretty much overall you want to have crit damage on your substats. And then over that is pretty much just any survivability, so HP, defense, effect res are all good. And obviously if you are using Broken Keel, you want to get up to 30% effect res, so make sure you do get that. If you aren't at that with the substats and you are running Broken Keel, make sure to get above 30%. And yes, the survivability rolls would be HP, defense, and such like that, just so your Sparkle doesn't die. And so now moving on to the topic of how much crit damage is too much. So there is no value that hard caps her crit damage. You can just pretty much just keep going for as much as you want. But pretty much you want to get Sparkle up to a minimum of 240% crit damage. Past 240% crit damage is when you do start to see diminishing returns on the buff from the skill. So a good recommended amount is about 240%. Obviously, if you go a little lower or a little higher, that is completely alright. You're still getting a massive crit damage buff. But I would genuinely shoot to go for 240 and do not go insane, like an insane much higher, like going all the way up to 280 or 300. Definitely do not do that because you also want to be getting stats on your speed, regardless if you're running breakpoint speed, hyper carry speed, or the hyper speed Sparkle. You just want to make sure you have at least around, near, or a little over 240, just so you don't see too many diminishing returns and you can focus on other stats, again, such as speed and survivability. Moving on to the details as I was talking about earlier, just to get out of the way, breakpoint speed on Sparkle is just for a general Sparkle, so if you are like me and just using her as a general character, just getting her to 134 speed or higher is fine. And now, I will be talking about the hyper speed Sparkle versus the -1 to 2 speed Sparkle. So I'm going to list these things on. Shout out to Pridewin. Pridewin is a great site to get info on, and I'll have a link in the description below if you want to use it yourself. But as they list here, a Hyperspeed Sparkle build allows her to grant 2 actions to your damage dealer on the first and second cycle of every new wave without investing any speed on him at all, in time restricted modes like Memory of Chaos. The Sparkle 50% action advance she grants with the skill allows her to pull any DPS that is at least half as fast as her to her in action order. You can think of this as transferring Sparkle's speed stat to the carry. So pretty much if you have a 160 hyper speed Sparkle, having a slow DPS practically would make it to where once you pop the skill on your DPS, it would practically just pull the DPS all the way towards her, having your DPS attack next, which is very, very good. This also does meaning any speed investment of your own DPS pretty much isn't required. This does allow for attack boots and such, which is really good for characters like Danheng. The result of this is that all damage dealers is supported by Hyperspeed Sparkle, that they can completely negate the speed stat and you have much more freedom with the substats in your own pursuit. Use attack percent or HP percent main boots on them. So now moving over to the -1 to 2 speed Sparkle. -1 speed Sparkle build is where you aim to make Sparkle 1 to 2 speed slower than whoever you're aiming to buff with a skill. Normally this involves making the main carry 135 or 136 speed and Sparkle 134 speed. So pretty much you'd have the breakpoint still, and you'd still be 1 to 2 speed below your main DPS. Instead of granting Sparkle speed to the carry, this speed setup grants the main damage dealer 50% more action under ideal circumstances. Moving on to how that works. Carry 1 to 2 speed faster than Sparkle will move first and use their action. Sparkle will move right after using her skill on the carry, boosting their action by 50%. That means the carry is now 50% ahead of Sparkle in the action order. Your carry will now move next. Note they are 50% ahead of Sparkle this time. Sparkle gets her turn next. Note that your carry is 50% behind Sparkle at this time thanks to Sparkle's first boost separating them. And Sparkle's boost here will carry. And Sparkle's boost here on the carry will pull the carry that is 50% behind back into sync with Sparkle, completing at full 100% advancement from 2 Sparkle skills, granting 1.5 more actions in total. Repeat the combo. So with that combo, you are, as it mentions, you are getting 1.5 more actions in total. Obviously, that doesn't mean your DPS output is better, and it becomes more similar to a Brony above. So it is very good, and what is better than the other really depends on you. If you can achieve 160 speed, obviously you can go ahead and try that. And if you can achieve the 1 to 2 speed below your main DPS, you can also go on for that as well. So I have tested both. Obviously I cannot do it on this account, but I've tested both thanks to friends' accounts and all that. And I personally do prefer the Hyperspeed Sparkle, and I would recommend, if you can, going for Hyperspeed Sparkle. But again, just go past your preferences. All the options are good. You don't have to do crazy setups like that for it to make her work. In general, she is still very, very good. And moving past the relics, her Trace priority. So the Trace you do want to get up first is the skill, because this is where her main damage buff of her crit damage is going to be provided. And obviously with more crit damage and you leveling up this first, you'd give the ally you select more crit damage. So start off with getting these skills as high as you can. Then whether you want to go for the alt or talent, either or is fine. I prefer doing the talent, but again, it depends on you. You can do either or you can just get them up evenly like I did. And then followed by that is basic attack, which you can practically just completely ignore. You do not have to get the basic attack up at all. But again, so the real order, I'd say do the skill first, then whatever here you want, and then also do prioritize getting everything unlocked. Like obviously you want to get all 3 of the bonus abilities unlocked. And obviously some of these give you a good amount of crit damage, so I do recommend going ahead and aiming for getting the crit damage bonuses at least. And then whatever you have, or if you want to, you can max out the basic attack, or you can just ignore it like I am. Alright, now moving on to the team building section. Sparkle has many teams as you can run. Starting off will be Mana Quantum, which would consist of either Zele or QQ. Either or works. And followed by that, you would have Sparkle, Silverwolf, and Fushuan. So this will practically be the best team you have for Mana Quantum. Again, Zele can be QQ. And if you do not have Fushuan, you can replace her for Lynx. This would be your other sustain unit, albeit not as good as Fushuan. It is still a very good replacement. And so overall, this would be the best Mana Quantum team you can run. Moving on to another very good team for her, it would start as having Sparkle, obviously, and this would be the IL Dan team. This one can be flexible according to what you want. So you would have Sparkle and so this team would have Sparkle and Dan consisting of 2. Your sustain unit, which best option would be Fushuan, but you can also run Luocha, Ho-Ho, or if you have one of the Forcers, you can run one of the Forcers. Fushuan being the overall best option. And the last thought is very flexible. You can run another sustain if you want to make sure you don't die. You can run someone like Ruanmei, who is very powerful, or Ting Yun even, who is extremely good with Dan. So a team like this would be really good for Dan because you have Sparkle buffing Dan, fixing skill issues. You have Fushuan, making so your team doesn't die, and then you have Ting Yun buffing your Dan even more, making him an absolute menace. Sparkle is also another character like Ruanmei who can enable dual DPSs, so you can run a more general team such as like Sparkle, sustain unit. Jingwan has received a massive buff due to how Sparkle works, so Jingwan would be a good option. And then you can practically run whoever else, such as Blade, something like this. But I guess if you are running someone like Blade, you'd probably want to take a healer, so let's replace Fushuan with Luocha. So you can run something like this if you want, or you can just run something where you're hyper buffing Jingwan, so you'd run something like Sparkle, Jingwan, Fushuan, and practically whoever else. So those are some general team ideas. The best ones would be the ones I said, being Mana Quantum and Dan, who benefit the most out of Sparkle's kit. But general options are very good. As I said, Sparkle has practically revived Jingwan, so running a team like that and then whoever is your last one is very good. Best Mana Quantum team being Sparkle, Silverwolf, and Fushuan, and then your DPS being Zele or QQ is the other best. And for Dan would be Sparkle, Dan, sustain unit, and whoever else you want, preferably Ting Yun, just to get the most out of your Dan. And so yeah, that is the complete build guide, everything you need to know about Sparkle. Let me know if you guys did go ahead and end up summoning, or if this video changed your mind and now you are looking to build her. So I do hope you guys found this build helpful. Let me know if it did, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.